Good morning, Goshen College. We're glad you're here today. The eminent political theorist of the 20th century, Hannah Arendt, once said that political questions are far too serious to be left to politicians. I agree, and yet, without politicians, that is, without people who are dedicated to using power to organize and govern, we're in danger of being ruled by a mob. So as much as we might not like to admit it, we need politicians. Politicians, after all, have a front row seat to the messy business of power sharing, of using public resources to get things done at scale. We are blessed to have a politician with us today. Her name is Gina Lichty. She's the mayor of Goshen College, of Goshen, Indiana. Sorry, not the mayor of Goshen College. I guess today you're the honorary mayor of Goshen College. Hope Becky's okay with that for today. She's also a proud graduate of Goshen College, class of 1995. During her time at Goshen College, Gina participated in the study service term in Costa Rica, an invaluable experience where she learned Spanish, deepened her understanding of Latin American history, and immersed herself in Latino culture. In many ways, Goshen College prepared her to adapt to the unexpected and to seek out opportunities for service, a mindset that was crucial in her unexpected dive into politics last June. With a rich background in marketing and public service, Gina is committed to fostering a city that is smart, strategic, connected, and prepared for the future. She brings a warm, approachable style to her role and is always eager to connect with and inspire the next generation of leaders, some of whom are sitting right here. But almost as important as all of this, Gina's grandmother was a sister to my grandmother, which makes us cousins, a fact which I hope she remembers when she becomes governor of Indiana someday. Please help me welcome back, Mayor Gina Lichty.
Good morning. It's so good to be here back at Goshen College. Now, I will have to admit, by way of a bit of a confession, standing at the podium today is a little bit ironic to be here at Convo. When I was a student at GC, I actually skipped so many convocations that I had to take an extra class in order to be able to graduate. So I appreciate that gracious willingness to overlook my slacking as a student and the warm welcome back on campus. It's so comforting to see so many bright, caffeinated faces here this morning. And I won't judge you if you happen to be scrolling on your phone. The important thing is that you're here. I get it. I understand. You're here. That's what matters. You showed up. Now, a week from now, many of us in this room will be making a monumental decision. We will be participating in choosing the next leader of the free world. The stakes are incredibly high, and the person that we choose speaks volumes about who we are as a nation. And while we're considering that important decision, we're also living in a time where we've opted into a system of continuous surveillance from our peers and strangers. And in this environment, we've become brazenly comfortable with proclaiming opinions, even some of our worst, at others, particularly at politicians. So with that reality, and in a world that's very divided, and where it can feel sometimes like even our own safety is on the line, you'd have to wonder why any smart, sane person would want to participate in politics. It's a fair question. But today, I hope to show you that public service, particularly at the local level, in spite of what we're seeing at the national or state level, might just be one of the smartest and most meaningful paths you could choose as a career. When I graduated from Goshen College, I didn't have it all figured out in spite of Irvin Beck's best efforts to guide me. In fact, I felt a little bit lost. What I did know is that Goshen had instilled in me a real appreciation for community, the importance of service, and that felt like something that was very solid that I could lean into. I decided to take a volunteer year right here in Goshen, signing up for a role that would ultimately shape my future in ways I couldn't have imagined. I became a live-in caregiver companion for 3 amazing women, each of whom had developmental and psychiatric diagnoses. Now, if it sounds noble, I will be honest. My choice to volunteer was more about finding direction for myself than it was fulfilling a grand vision for serving others. But with an English major and 0 interest in teaching high school, I didn't have a clear path, and I needed some more time to figure things out. Volunteering felt like a way to do some good, delay some of those student loan paybacks, and gain a little insight along the way. But looking back, I see that initial decision to step forward and volunteer compelled me to a calling I couldn't have imagined. That year of volunteering turned out to be one of the best of my life. Within a year, I was hired full-time, eventually leveraging those analytical thinking skills and organizational development skills to become the organization's director of operations. And along the way, I gained a deeper understanding of the nonprofit world, and that experience connected me to individuals and families who face the dual challenges of developmental disabilities and psychiatric disabilities every single day. And looking back, those connections became my compass, showing me how a single act of stepping up without having all the answers can lead to unexpected opportunities and relationships that last a lifetime. Volunteering wasn't just a stopgap, it became the foundation of everything moving forward. I spent 8 years in that role in the nonprofit world, and even though the work was very meaningful, after a time I knew I needed a change. My brother had been working for several years post-graduation at Goshen College in the RV industry, and he encouraged me to explore new opportunities in manufacturing. So I made the leap from the not-for-profit sector to the for-profit sector, working in communications and marketing. I found myself in marketing and tech, where I had the chance to champion local businesses and help sell Goshen products across the nation. The work was profitable, and after several years, once I'd earned my place in the company, I was able to negotiate a 4-day work week and dedicate 1 day each week to grow community projects. I used that day to continue to volunteer, serve on boards, and grow First Fridays, a program my husband, Ben, and I had launched in 2007 to bring the community together in new ways. In the fall of 2010, I received an unpleasant surprise. My boss approached my desk one day and he said, "We need to talk." And we all know what that means when somebody says, "We need to talk." It's rarely good. And indeed, it was not good news. He was the owner of the company and had sold the company to a new owner in Portland, Oregon. Now, the good news was they were very happy and willing to move me to Portland, Oregon. The bad news was that our daughter was 16 at the time, and it wasn't a good time for us to pack up and move across the country and start a new life in Portland. And we felt deeply committed to our community here in Goshen. So my husband, Ben, who is a graphic and web designer, he had been running a solo practice for 10 years, and we decided that instead of packing up, we'd try a new challenge. With my communication skills and his design skills and our deep roots in community, we felt we had something unique to offer. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a risk. Living and working together 24/7 is a big decision, but it paid off. That 1 day a week of service that I had committed to, the time spent volunteering, the relationships that we had built, all laid the foundation for what would grow our business over the next decade. And more importantly, it strengthened our commitment to each other and to our ties to our city that we call home. I loved running my own business, watching our firm grow and helping others grow their business, and being part of something that made a real impact in our community. It was immensely satisfying to see a small two-person firm transform into a boutique agency that supported hundreds of businesses and dozens of creative careers. It was also hard work, but through it all, we stayed committed to the work that mattered to us, championing the arts and creating events and promoting the vibrancy of Goshen. And then last winter, we got an unusual phone call. Late one evening, the phone rang, and it was our friend that we had worked closely with for many years, the former mayor, Jeremy Stutzman. He said he and his wife wanted to meet with Ben and I and talk about the upcoming local election. We figured he might be looking to hire us for some consulting work, but we did think it was a little odd that he wanted to meet after hours, and something just felt different. Still, we headed over without thinking too much about it, as we were good friends and had worked together for a long time. And we sat down in his office in a quiet conference room, and there was a long pause, and Mayor Jeremy looked at us with his face with a mix of emotions that were unfamiliar to me. And he said ultimately he'd made a very difficult decision. He'd been offered a job that he felt he couldn't refuse, and he was going to step down from his mayoral term early. We were completely stunned. But then we got more stunned. He looked directly at me and, with all sincerity, asked if I would consider stepping up and complete his term and run in the fall election. The room went pretty still at that point. I felt very happy in my job and the way I had been operating in my life, and I had planned to retire at IDARP. I think the first thing I said once I gathered my thoughts to Jeremy was, I think I'd make a lousy politician. While I have very strong personal beliefs and convictions, what has driven me and what gives me purpose is bringing people together around a common cause. The words Democrat and Republican are not particularly meaningful. Reducing people to party lines or labels doesn't feel useful or honest. We're complex, layered people, and while I stand by my own convictions, I never saw myself as the ideal flag bearer for just one party. But that's where the magic of local government has become clear. Now, if you want to make a true difference in your community, if you're drawn to work that impacts people's day-to-day lives, and if you value balance between purpose and practical results, look no farther than local government. City government shapes every aspect of our world, the physical, the social, the economic environment in which we all live. At the end of the day, potholes do not have party affiliations. I work for the good of Goshen. What I love about this work is that it demands that I collaborate with people I don't get along with, people who hold very different beliefs, and unlike at the state or national level, where partisan games can stall progress, I do not have that luxury. At the local level, we don't have the option to walk away when it gets hard. We have to figure it out, and we do. And here's what's even more powerful. When you work for a small city, you live right next door to the people you impact. We are all in this together. There's no distance, no buffer, no secret service. I see the faces of the people whose lives my decisions touch every single day. So that keeps me grounded, humble, and focused on what matters. Now, whatever you are passionate about, There is an opportunity for you in government at the local level. Are you interested in social work? Perhaps you should consider public safety. Passionate about the environment or land use? You should join the water department. Are you a chemist? The wastewater treatment plant needs you. Are you an engineer? You can come work on roads and sidewalks and figure out the best ways to connect our community. You like studying human behavior? Planning and zoning is calling. Sociology? Think about parks and recreation and the way that we connect each other. Medicine? Emergency management needs people to respond and save lives. Justice? I have a whole team of lawyers and consultants. Aeronautics? We even have an airport. There are 22 departments within the city of Goshen that cover a vast array of careers and interests, and we need folks like you who are willing to step up and step forward and serve our community. Whatever you're passionate about, there's a role for you to make a meaningful, lasting impact on your home community. And if you're a person that feels called to lead, you might consider stepping up as a counselor, commissioner, or a mayor. In Indiana, we have what's called a strong mayor state. That means that the mayor isn't just a figurehead. I do more than cut ribbons and shake hands and kiss babies. I'm directly responsible for the city's business, and I serve as their CEO. I appoint all 22 department heads. I select 52 members for boards and commissions. I lead the Common Council and Board of Works, and I'm ultimately responsible for all the operations of all the departments in every part of our city. So in these roles, you're not just leading, you're shaping the heart of our community, ensuring that it serves and reflects the people who live here. I can't say enough about how grateful I am for my roots at Goshen College. It taught me to empathize with outsiders through the experience of living abroad. It emphasized the importance of cultural learning and strengthened my communication skills. And Goshen encouraged me to lean into uncomfortable spaces. And it opened me to an incredible range of career opportunities right here in my hometown. I hope to continue to serve in my current role for many years to come, Lord willing and elections prevailing, because just in the short time that I've lived and worked in Goshen, okay, maybe 30 years, it's maybe not so short, I've seen firsthand the power of community that comes together to create real, meaningful, positive change. So, as we face the big decision ahead of us next week, I have reason for optimism. Several weeks ago, I got a text message from the spouse of one of our firefighters. She told me that she was watching the presidential debate with her 7-year-old daughter. And while watching the vice president on stage, her daughter remarked thoughtfully, "You know, Mom, having a woman lead our city has worked out okay. I think maybe it could work out for our country too." I agree, kiddo. I believe I'm not only going to be the first woman mayor of the city of Goshen in its 193-year history. Sorry. But I'm going to bear witness to the first woman being sworn in as our country's president in its 248-year history. And if the person I vote for doesn't win, I still believe in the power of my neighbors and the power of people who live here in Goshen to do right by each other. And I will continue to serve with joy. Thank you for the opportunity to share my story with you. Thank you for graciously overlooking my Convo absences and inviting me back. I look forward to our continued conversation.